Nothing makes you feel older than trying to keep up with pop culture. Hi, I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. And today I'm going to ramble for 10 minutes about the fact that it seems almost impossible to keep up with pop culture because almost every day you look up and there's a new hot young artist. And by hot young artist, I don't mean like attractive. I mean like they're the new it thing. Like they're what the culture demands. They're the hot ones. Like everybody wants a piece of them. Oftentimes the attractiveness is neither here nor there. Look, guys, I don't know. I don't know how much worse this is going to get. It's not going to get better for certain. But it did raise a question in my head because I'm weird and these things raise philosophical questions for me. Why do we demand young, fresh talent? Why do we demand it? It's a serious question. And this is not a judgment-filled question. I'm not out here assuming like we demand the young ones. No. It's a legitimate question because it seems like we demand all these young singers and young actors and everything else. And then we get mad when they don't have a ton of life experience. We get mad. Like, how does that make sense? We demand the youngest, freshest talent, and then we get angry that they have no life experience. And I think on the podcast here, I've probably gotten mad about the fact that this young talent doesn't have life experience, or that there's, 20-year-olds, barely out of high school year olds, sometimes in high school year olds, who have millions of followers on Instagram. Again, and I think I've mentioned this before as well, it's a little problematic that the word isn't like fan or anything like that. It's follower. Because follower is typically something we associate with a religious movement. Anyways, we'll get to that in a minute. It's hypocritical of us to sort of look at these young talents and say, well, why don't you have any life experience? I can tell you why they don't have any life experience. Because they're children. You look at NFL players. NFL players, I can understand why there's always a youth movement. Because in the NFL, you take inordinate amounts, in any sport, your body takes an inordinate amount of beatings, such that by the time you are 36, you are old. You are old for that sport. Vince Carter, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, with the springiest legs of all time. The man could dunk like no other. At 36, he no longer had the springs he once had because he spent so long doing those repetitive motions and beating up his knees and doing everything else. And granted, he had some great physical therapy and everything else that helped him stay in shape longer, but eventually, it's just hard on your body. It just wears down. Singing and acting is not really designed to be hard on your body. You can be quite excellent at 36 and beyond because, number one, 36 is not old. And I'm saying that with desperation because I am 33. But 36 is not old, right? It's not like you're not over the hill at 36. You're probably not over the hill at 46. I apologize for the siren in the background. Something blew up this morning and my building lost power for a hot second. So the power is back, as you can tell, but we stand to see if the power remains on. But you're not old. You're probably not old at 46. My dad is 60 plus, and he's younger than he's ever been. That's how time seems to work nowadays. We no longer have a society filled with people who regularly smoke 6 packs of cigarettes a day. We've become, generally speaking, more health conscious. Life has just extended beyond previous predictions, which is also why mandatory retirement ages are sort of screwy. Why, a lot of things are kind of screwy, because we have a skewed idea of what is valuable. And now, before somebody chimes in here and is like, well, evolutionary biology will tell you lots of things. Evolutionary biology will tell you many, many things. It will tell you that we should just quite literally be focusing on finding the freshest meat out there and just, doing the nasty with the freshest meat we can find. It's not a thing, guys. It's not a thing, and it needs to stop. Weird older men with 20-year-old girls. It's weird. It's weird. Somebody can, the argument can be made, well, what if they're truly in love? Guys, they're 20. They're 70. There's in either direction, nothing good is going to come of that. In the best case scenario, she is going to be changing the diapers of the man she loves in 10 years. And 10 years is not a long time. It's a long time when you're a child. It's not a long time when you're old. And 70, we can say, is at least approaching old, at least approaching the vector curve of old. But the real thing you miss when you demand sort of younger and younger talent, you shuffle off to the side those who have the experience that makes for deep, nuanced performances. You shuffle off to the side the experience, and before somebody says, well, they didn't make it when they were young, so how could they? Making it, not making it, has nothing to do with the amount of talent you have. It really doesn't. Making it often has to do with your luck, your hustle at a particular moment in time, your connections with the right people at a particular moment in time. The right mix of those factors is what leads you to, quote unquote, making it, not your just baseline talent level. There are many, many talented people who have not only not made it, but who have left the various industries, There are many talented people who have not made it, who left the various creative industries. It's just true. When you demand that all your 40-year-olds look like 20-year-olds, you start to skew what not only age looks like, but what talent should look like. You miss out on the stories that the 40-year-olds, the actual 40-year-olds, can tell. You start to miss out on the layers they bring. There's nothing wrong with somebody being young and successful. Absolutely not. Don't take what I'm saying to say that I'm mad that there are young people who are successful. There are absolutely young people who are successful. There are a lot of young people who bring a lot of layers to the table. But don't just dismiss. Like, if you see a 40-year-old come out on stage for the first time, don't dismiss them just because they've never popped up before. And don't replace them with the hot young thing that comes up next. It's okay. They worked hard to get there too. And if you listen, you just might hear a story worth listening to. This is a short one today. I've got some other work I got to get done. So this is only 9 minutes and 40 seconds. And yeah, I'm saying these things truly in the hopes that somebody will listen to the stories I bring to the table someday. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Maybe this podcast will just be me talking into the ether, but into the ether of 53 people who I am glad to have listen to the podcast, and I am glad to share these conversations with. I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. Have a great day.